What if I told you that one sentence could change the way that you talk about your pricing and really make you more profitable without losing high quality clients? Okay, welcome rock stars. Welcome to another episode of the No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors. So today's guest, complete rock star, was dealing with classic contractor struggles or the rising costs, which you guys are seeing, price pushbacks, uncertainty in the marketplace, fear of losing work if they charge more. But what happened next will flip how you guys see pricing. Okay, it's going to help you guys attract the right clients and really give you the confidence. To be able to, first of all, recognize your value and make sure that you're able to get people to, win jobs where people can actually pay you what you're worth. So we're going to talk about a lot more than that. Okay. But let me welcome Stacey Smith here from Alberni Electric, BC. Joined the Champion CEO community just a little bit, I guess a year ago or close to that.
Mhm.
And we're here to share with you some of the amazing progress that she's made. So welcome, Stacey.
Thanks.
Okay, awesome. So you've been on quite a journey since you've been here. Okay. And I was struggling. My team was telling me what they wanted me to talk about, which we're going to talk about, which is what I just shared with you guys. But there's so much more than that because I see all these posts that you've been putting into the group, over the last little while. Let's see if I can pull this up. I'll just give you an example. So here you are a year ago. You're saying you're at a breaking point. So you stepped away from the business 16 for about 16 months, and what happened? You came back, and what was going on?
It was a disaster. We had left it being managed by somebody, and unfortunately, there were things that happening that we weren't aware of. They were quoting low to get jobs, and then of course it was going over, and we ended up having to float our business using our home equity line of credit when we came back because the business was doing so poorly, and we ended up going in and doing a lot of warranty work after the fact too,
Mm,
because things were just not being managed the way that we would have managed them.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
it was bad.
It's pretty bad, right?
Yeah, about
Yeah,
as bad as
and
it can get.
disappointing. Yep.
Yes.
You know, and here's the thing, right? If it had continually like that, tell me the honest truth, you probably wouldn't be in business, right?
No, absolutely not. We would have had to fold it because it wasn't
Mm,
just about finance. This is about reputation as well.
right.
Mhm.
Absolutely, right. That's one thing, right? With the trust in the marketplace, especially with the uncertainty. Look, guys, you might be listening to this podcast a year later or what have you, but right now we got these tariffs going on. You got uncertainty as far as like what's going to be taxed, what is going to be taxed. Tariffs are on, they're off. Then on top of that, you got the cost of things going up to the roof. It's funny, is that my dad's um my stepdad's birthday, 80th birthday on the weekend. And one of the family members gave him this card, obviously 80th birthday card, but it was a card that said, "Hey, on the day that you were born, here's where things were at." Okay, like a flashback of the newspaper. Okay. And it's interesting, just talk about how things have changed and the challenges that we're up against. Back 80 years ago, a house was worth a little over $2,500. Imagine that.
Mm.
Okay. And people go, "Oh, yeah, it was a lot harder back then." Like, listen, I'm not going to compare as far as things like war, disease and death. Okay. Yes, absolutely. Crazy, crazy times. But get ready for this. The average home, this is in Canada, it's roughly the same in the United States. Okay. So in North America, the average home was around $7,500. Okay. Between seven and $8,000. So what's that say? Why am I bringing this up? I'm putting things in perspective. And this is why you want to pay attention to this podcast here. Because this is no bullshit. It was about a 3-to-1 ratio against income. It is now on average across Canada and North America around a 12-to-1. So the cost of living, the cost of buying a home, everything is going up exponential compared to how much we make. And as a business owner, it's even harder, right? Because we have to pass these prices, these increases on to our clients. And sometimes we think it's impossible. But look at you, it's a year later, fast forward, right, to today.
Mhm.
Okay. This was in March, right?
Yeah,
192.7% improvement from
yeah.
95K loss to 102K net profit in 2024. How's that feel seeing this?
It was such a huge relief, honestly, because I knew we were finally heading in the right direction, but without having that guidance that we had gotten over the previous year from
Hmm.
PFC, we wouldn't be looking at those same numbers.
Right, right. And I love what you put here. Okay, just to touch on this as we get into actually sharing with you guys actually the things that Stacey did. Okay, like if you're watching this, guys, this is no bullshit. This is a company that, like, literally, what a turnaround this was. Okay, so dealing with somebody in being put in a position that wasn't doing what they're supposed to be doing, not only the effects on the profits, but the effects on the culture, which we're going to touch on if we've got time later on today. Okay. The effects on the culture, I'm talking about the environment, guys. When I say cultures, it's the environment for the team, environment for the clients, for the suppliers. But look at this, to any business owner out there feeling overwhelmed, there's hope. Finding the right support systems and implementing the right strategies can truly change everything. Huge thanks to PFC. Okay. Tools, guidance. Now, guys, this isn't a pitch. I'm just letting you know that you're not alone. Okay. You're all pricing jobs today. You have to, if you're a contractor, you have to do the work. You have to either do the work yourself or get a team to do the work. Whether you're a roofing contractor, plumbing, electrical, framer, whatever, GC, it doesn't matter. The rules of the game are the rules of the game. You have to start with pricing profitably. So tell us a little bit about, you said, so here's the statement you said, which really jumps out at me. Okay. So the before was before working on this, what were some of your biggest pricing challenges, right? Like
Mhm.
you had pricing challenges. Tell us a little bit about where was your mindset at before you went through our pricing for profits calculator and actually going, oh my God, we got to charge these prices. But where was your mindset at?
Well, we were really stuck in we have to put markup on materials and charge labor. We were just labor and materials. And it was sort of guesswork, really.
Hmm.
We weren't accounting for overhead or rise in costs or anything like that, except on the
Hmm.
materials, of course. But as our company grew, so did our overhead. And we weren't even
Right.
thinking about that. So how could you be making any profit or even breaking even without accounting for that?
So true. Guys, here's like I said, it doesn't matter what kind of trade you are listening to this. I don't care how big your team is. We're helping guys with 150 people to 3 people. Okay, the principles are the same. If you are not clear, number one, on the principles that are required to price jobs profitably, let alone be able to sell it at that level, you're pricing blindly. Okay. And here's the part that really sucks. It doesn't define you being a bad person. It doesn't say that you don't want to make profits, that you don't have this knowledge. You can't expect to know this stuff just by saying, I really want to know it. You have to get the right insights with the right people, with the right process and steps, and hopefully with a system that was worked for thousands of others so that you can use it to know, number one, that your awareness is at a place where you know your price properly. We've gotten into selling it or marketing it, but the first step is knowing, am I pricing properly? Okay. And if you're not applying overhead, if you're not applying labor burden, if you're not looking at your profit and loss statement on a monthly basis minimum to make the adjustments, you might be like, oh my God, this is too much. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. What would you say to somebody that says, I've been pricing like this forever? What would you say to them?
Honestly, we were pricing like that forever too, and we were losing money constantly. Like we were
Mhm.
always behind the eight ball. And
Mm.
there's a lot of fear there too, because you worry that if you increase your prices, you're going to lose customers. So you're always trying to
Mhm.
chase the next job and make sure that you get enough work in the pipeline to keep everybody busy. But you're keeping everybody busy and not making anything for the future. So that can be
Right.
scary too.
Look, guys, you know, it's an interesting comparison. I don't know if it's a good one. Stacey, you know this, right? Working with you, I come with these analogies and they tend to work, but sometimes I don't know where like fully if it's going to go someplace. But let me put it this way. Take whatever trade you're in. So as you're listening, think about this. So Stacey, in your case, it's electrical. Okay.
Mhm.
So Brad's the master electrician. You got a bunch of electricians working for you. Okay. Guys, if you are pricing blind, I'm not joking. It's not as bad, but think about like try and put it into this perspective. That's the same as you doing your trade just winging it. Okay. I think this is a strong enough structure. Uh, maybe the power's on, maybe it's not. We'll just, as electrical, right? I'll grab a hold of it and find out a bad idea. Okay. Roofing. Yeah, I think putting these on, I think my guys are putting them on properly. Water leaks. Guys, where am I going with this? You wouldn't do that with your trade. And if you do that with your trade, you probably should like shut it down, stop doing it. Because it's not just unsafe for you or your team, it's unsafe for the end user, right? Like it's literally dangerous. Well, not knowing how to price properly, even if you are profitable, is ignorance. And I call it, you've maybe heard me say this, Stacey, ignorance tax. Ignorance tax is if you know you can do something better or you shouldn't be doing something the way you're doing it and you take the ignorance path, then the tax is when something happens, you're responsible to pay for it. No different than as a tradie. If you don't check that power's off and you're the electrician on the job site, somebody gets killed, sorry, you should be held liable because you were supposed to, because you've been trained on it, make sure that it's safe. Again, no matter what trade. Well, are we running our business safely? In this specific case, are we pricing safely? Because Stacey, if you continued pricing the way you were, who would have been at risk?
Not just us, but our family
Yes.
and all the jobs that people rely on us for as well.
Right.
If this
Okay.
video resonates with you at all, let's be real. You're working your ass off, but your bank account, it doesn't reflect it, right? Jobs keep piling up, the team's not stepping up, and no matter how many hours you put in, it still feels like you're treading water. Sound familiar? Listen, it doesn't have to be that way. I help contractors just like you take back control, make more money, and finally build a business that doesn't suck up all of your time in your life. And it all starts with a free 20-minute call. That's it. If you're tired of grinding with nothing to show for it, hit the link below, book a call, and let's fix this. Look, one step, that's all it takes sometimes to start turning this around. Let's make it happen.
Okay. So, like, where was your headspace at? Where was your, before we got into this, where was your headspace at regarding, you touched on it a little bit, on objection handling, the relationship between increasing pricing and objections. Where was your headspace at?
Um, that's a really hard conversation to have with people, but we were speaking with another contractor that we work with, and he explained it this way to us. What he says to people is that the reason my prices are what they are, not only does it reflect the quality of the work that we do, but it also will allow me to be in business in a year or two if you need me to come back for any warranty work or whatever the case may be. It guarantees I'll still be in business.
Right. Very good. Very good. So, guys, there's a shift that happened. Okay. So, Stacey, one of the things you posted in the group was this. You said, you put in the group, our prices are higher because I want to make sure I'm still in business to warranty the work.
Mhm.
Tell me about that.
Well, hopefully we don't have to warranty any work unless it's
Hmm.
defective product, but
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, people want to know that you stand behind what you do. And that's part of rebuilding that reputation as well, is that
Yep.
they have the confidence that if you come in and do a job, you're going to do it right the first time. And if
Mhm.
something does go wrong, you're still going to be there to fix it.
You got it. You got it. So, you know, can you walk me through the moment when, you know, that, that moment when it hit you of like, oh my gosh, we're not pricing properly.
It actually made me feel really sick to my stomach because I felt like it was going to be an uphill battle to be able to get our prices where they needed to be without losing a lot of customers,
Mhm.
and not thinking that the way that we were doing it, we were getting about an 80% conversion rate on our quotes, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Um, so we saw that and we thought, oh, that's great. We're busy. We have lots of clients, but we had a lot of fights on our hands as well because we were drawing clients that were tire kickers or ones that just wanted the cheapest price they could get. And if they wanted any extras, they didn't want to have to pay for them. So once
Mhm.
again, you're stuck dealing with conflict because you're drawing the wrong kind of client. So we had to change how we thought about our pricing and rebuild our reputation at the same time, as well as draw the right kind of client so that they're not the ones that are out there looking for the cheapest price. They're looking for the best job.
Interesting. And when we had you do a little bit of research, I don't know if you were sharing a little bit of this before we, turned on the record button. You thought that, how did you think you compared to the other electrical contractors out there?
We honestly thought that we were higher than the rest of them, but we didn't really look into it to find out.
Hmm.
So we did a little bit of homework and contacted a few companies um, without even coming out to look at the job. Our admin contacted one local company through their website and said, I have 100 amp service. I'd like it upgraded to 200 amps and I'd like a price. Not only did they not come out to do a site visit, they contacted her about 3 days after she reached out to them and said, oh, minimum $5,000. We were doing them for about $3,500 and barely making it. So we thought, okay, we're doing the site visits, we're doing everything that needs to be done before.
Right. All this extra value that you just took for granted,
Yeah, and not accounting for
honestly,
it.
and not
So
accounting for.
it was
Yep.
kind of like, oh my gosh, we've been assuming that we're so much higher than everybody else, but are we? It kind of
Mm.
gave us a bit of a kick in the pants
Hmm. Hmm.
and a little more
So,
confidence.
and a little more confidence. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at, first of all, the awareness of pricing,
Hmm.
you guys have been in business for how long?
Just about 13 years.
So, okay, 13 years. And somebody might be listening and going like, I've been quoting for 13 years. I know what I'm doing. What would you say to somebody if they said that to you?
How's your bank account looking? How's your
Bingo.
stress
What a
level?
great question.
Yeah,
What makes you say that?
because we were always paying Peter, or robbing Peter rather, to pay Paul.
Right.
And I kept expecting it to get better, and it just never did. There was always something that would throw us off track or whatever the case may be.
Mm.
And we would be even further behind the next year than we were previously. So, it's a losing game when you do it that way.
So one good indicator is that if your bank account is not going up, there's a very high chance you have significant leaks in your profits, right?
Mm.
In your bucket of profit. Actually, that's 100%. The question now is articulating where. And I remember you saying this to me when we first chatted. You said, and Brad was there as well. It's like, Andrew, we don't know where the hell is all of our money going. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Our sales are up. This is up, or that is up, or Like the bank account does not correlate to any of this. If you do not know for certain that you're pricing your jobs with a proven profitable system, you will never be able to answer that question. It's
Mhm.
not the only question. It's not the only area, but it's a very important thing. Because here's the reality. If you guys go and price a job, for most people, contractors out there, you price the job for 3,500 bucks. You should have quoted it at 5,000. Who pays that? Who pays the delta? You guys do.
Yes.
You can't go back to a client and go, I know we just did this job. We should have quoted 5 grand. No, it's true though. Is it true?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But yet everybody else gets paid, right? Suppliers get paid, the employees get paid, everybody gets paid except for the owner.
Yes.
Okay.
We had a
So,
year where we were not even drawing an income from the company because we were doing things that way.
wow. Wow. Like, think about that. Think about all the hours and time that you guys put in,
Mhm.
right? Okay. So, what were some of the systems or tools that help communicate pricing better?
Well, definitely the first meeting we had with Anna where she walked us through our overhead costs
Yes.
because we were not considering the markup that we were putting on materials would cover that. Um, and seeing that PFC calculator and how easy it made quoting,
Mm,
it just gave us the numbers. So there was no doubts about it, as long
right.
as everything that was estimated went into that calculator, we knew that we
Mm,
would make that 20% or 15% or whatever it was that we were
right.
shooting for.
Including debt and other things, right?
Yes, exactly. That
Right.
included our income, that included debt repayment, that
Hmm.
included overhead. So it
Right.
was huge for us. And it
Beautiful.
really
Love it.
wasn't a lot more than what we were already estimating for jobs. It was just
Right.
letting go of that fear.
Hmm. Hmm. So, how has your team benefited from you guys charging what you're worth?
Um, I believe the biggest benefit for them, well, aside from being able to give them raises, is
Hmm.
we've been able to implement health benefits
Okay.
because we can now afford to do that.
Hmm.
Um, we have been working on a team culture. We got everybody branded hoodies and hard hats and all the little goodies that go along with it. And we also try to a couple times a year have a staff dinner. We'll take them out somewhere, but this year we decided to do something a little extra.
I saw that in the group. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah,
Tell everybody about it.
it was great. The place that we rent our shop space from, the owner also has a houseboat rental company. So someone suggested in the staff meeting that why don't we do this? Like they were coming up with different ideas like axe throwing and go-karting and golfing,
Hmm.
but not all of us golf. And someone said houseboat, and we're all like, yeah, that sounds great. So I contacted the owner of the houseboat company, and they gave us quite a good deal. So we rented it for 2 nights and took the staff out on the lake. We had a fire on the beach, we had a barbecue, big breakfast the next morning, and everybody had a great time. And it really got or gave them a chance to get to know each other on a more personal level instead of just being workmates. So
Hmm.
that was a lot of fun. I would definitely do that again.
So, that's just awesome, right?
Yeah.
And that, as I'm sort of wrapping up the pricing topic, because we got a little bit more time. I want to talk about everybody that's listening in. I want to talk about how this relates to finding and hiring people and attracting the right people. Okay. I want to talk about the importance of culture and that all this that we talk about on the podcast, right? The No Bullshit Podcast for Contractors, they're principles that you cannot ignore, you can, but then you're going to have to pay that ignorance tax. Okay. So just wrapping up on the pricing side of things. So since you made these changes, what's been the biggest improvement that you've seen overall?
My stress level,
Is that
honestly,
interesting? Right?
that is the biggest improvement. I'm not losing sleep at night over how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay our
Right.
suppliers? How am I going to pay our guys without pulling it from our line of credit? And instead, now we're paying off the debt that built up while we were floating the company.
Yep.
I lose sleep at night wondering whether or not I'm going to be able to make payroll. And we're getting better clients overall. We're getting clients that are looking for a strong, reputable company that stands behind what they do and does solid work.
Mhm. Very good. It's funny, you were telling me about, we've been working on strategic alliances and more Class A clients and clients that are going to give repeat business. And so we went after a certain audience, right?
Yeah.
And it started working. And now you have another opportunity for the same audience. So now people are starting to come to you, which I'm going to segue to, you know, when we talk about hiring people, okay? And here's the thing, guys. Just before I finish moving on from the pricing side of things, everything is interconnected, okay? What do I mean by that? When you have the confidence that you're pricing jobs properly and profitably, that confidence, as I segue into this other conversation, it's contagious. People can sense it. Your employees can sense it. Your clients, prospects, what have you, can sense it. Suppliers can sense it. They can also sense when you're in fear, when you're in chaos, when when you feel like you're not in control, they have a sense that the business is not in control that they're working for. Would you agree, Stacey?
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm. There's an energy that happens, and it's the way it's supposed to be. Because as humans, when we deal with stress, right, it shows, right? People can pick that up. Even though they might not know exactly where it's coming from, they can pick up there's problems going on. And when things are good and the owners have confidence that they're making the right decisions, people can pick that up as well.
Mhm.
So I remember you talking to me a while back, this is probably about 6, 7 months ago, where it's like, Andrew, it's so difficult to find people. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Hmm. Then Stacey ends up having a chat with me, and the conversation goes, Andrew, we got a bit of a problem. So what's the problem? Well, it's on the hiring side. Now, you all might be thinking, well, obviously, it's because you can get anybody. What was it? Andrew, we have what?
Well, we had put an ad out for another apprentice, and the applications we got, there were two that were just so solid. We wanted to hire both of them, but we just didn't have the room for two people. But we must have got about 20 applicants, and of those 20, there were at least four of them that were really strong candidates, and two that I would have hired on the spot.
Hmm. What happened? What happened? You went from struggling to like, Andrew, we have this problem. We don't know who to pick. I'm like, wow, that's a really bad problem, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think part of it in rebuilding the company, we also rebranded the company,
Yes.
and our reputation just kept going up and up and up again to where it was and even stronger because people
Hmm.
could see we're organized, we do good work, we are reliable, and we will get back to you. And we stand
Yes.
behind our word.
It's awesome. And it's not that you didn't have, how do I put this? I'm not here to put any words in your mouth, but
Mhm.
when we started making changes, so from pricing confidently, running jobs confidently, it doesn't mean that we don't have areas of improvement still. Doing back costing, right? You
Mhm.
got better control of your cash flow. True?
Yes,
That was a game changer, right?
1,000%. 1,000%.
All right. Okay. Your team the energy started to change. True? The team started to what? What started happening with the team?
Well, they're more communicative. We have
Mm-hmm.
people that are planning to stay long term. They're
Mm-hmm.
not looking for the better, bigger deal.
Mm-hmm.
They're planning to stay with the company, and that's the kind of culture we're trying to foster because you want to invest in the best people. And when you get the best people, you want them to stick around. So you do what you can to make sure that that is going to happen, and having a good atmosphere, an open atmosphere where they feel that they can come to you. Like with us, we started doing weekly meetings and we open the floor like, do you guys have suggestions? Is there anything you think we can improve upon? It has been huge for us, and it's
Mm-hmm.
made them feel at ease to approach us even if something goes wrong.
Right. Do you mind if I coach you right now?
Please do.
Let's pay attention, everybody. I've never shared this with Stacey, but you're all going to hear it firsthand. Okay. You said something that's very powerful. You said, when you have good people, you want to invest into them, right? You want to make sure that you have the right systems for them. You want to make sure you have the right environment for them. You want to take them on boathouse trips. You want to have fun, right? You
Mhm.
want to buy them these nice jackets that I saw them come into the room while we were on the call. They were
Yeah.
so proud of it. I could see they were like, yeah, because it actually is a cool looking logo and all the rest of it. Honestly, it is. Okay, I'd like to wear it. Like that's what you want. This is PFC, right? Right.
Hmm.
Okay. So what's the coaching moment? Here it goes. The same applies to your employees. When an employee sees that the culture is where it needs to be, when they see that the owners are willing to make the changes and follow through, not just things will get better as the owner puts in more time thinking it's going to get better, but they're not really solving the problem because whether it's pricing or running jobs or hiring people or culture or reading their financials, the list goes on. If they're running the business blind, in some form or fashion, the team will sniff it. It's just inevitable. My dad used to raise horses, and it's not bullshit. If a person goes into a corral, especially if there's a stallion, and the person doesn't have this level of confidence, the horse can pick it up. I've seen it like hundreds of times. Okay. Well, the same applies to your employees, Stacey. Your employees are going to want to invest into you. Your employees are going to want to take the time to make things better. Your employees are going to want to wear the jackets. They're going to want to answer the questions now that you have a standard Monday morning meeting and a Friday reflection. Hey guys, what's your thoughts? And they're going to want to make the company better because they want to invest into you. So everybody listening, it goes both ways. Guess who else is willing to? Your prospects, your clients, your suppliers. Everybody, so many people think the world is against them. If that's how you're feeling, the odds are there's reasons why you're feeling that way. Because to a certain degree, they are. Nobody wants to work in an environment that's chaotic. Would you? Honestly, Stacey, would you?
I did, and I hated it. I
Right.
hated every minute of it. I was ready to walk away.
Right. Most business owners that are in the trades, most, not all, but most, like 80%, have opened up their business. And guys, as you're driving, oh my God, Andrew's in my head again. Why? Because you were sick and tired of working for somebody that you said, this is bullshit. They don't have the material ready. They're not organized. I'm not getting paid enough. There's no benefits. They got the wrong clients. They're that dang, 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 dang. We never do anything together. It's always work. I'm just a number. Well, that's no longer Alberni Electric. And now people are lining up to work there to the point that Stacey's like, I don't know which one to pick. True?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How does that resonate with you now that I'm getting you to flip and look at it from their perspective?
Yeah, well, it's like you said to me that you need to market just as much to your employees as you do your clients.
What does that mean?
Well, that they're going to have to want to work there. They're going to have to
Yes.
want to take pride in being part of a team, part of a crew.
Yes.
In fact,
Yes.
when we were out on the houseboat and we were sitting around the fire on the beach, one of our employees' wives said to me, you know, we are so happy that he is working there. He worked previously at a union company that was well established. It's been around for years. And we thought they had it all together. But she said to us that he would go a month without a paycheck because they did not have the money to pay him. Yeah, and there were other things going on as well, that it was not a good environment emotionally. So
Hmm.
when they laid him off because there wasn't enough work, he came to us and he's been with us for about 3 years now, or 2.5, 3 years.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he's a
Incredible.
fantastic employee and a fantastic
Right.
person.
Right. See, the fact that see, you've gotten to know your employees as if they're friends, right?
Yeah,
And they might be, okay? So pay attention, guys. Now you can turn this thing off. I'm about to wrap this thing up in the next few minutes here. But improve cash flow, improve profits, pricing jobs profitably, becoming the prize in the marketplace. Okay. Taking out assumptions. Oh my God, we're the highest price. No, you're not. Man, like if you're guessing at running a business, that's a bad plan. I'll say it again. If you're guessing at running a business, because that is the worst thing you could do. You're better off, and you're not going to want to hear it, but I'm going to tell you, if you're going to continue to put at risk your clients, your employees, yourself, your family, because your pride is getting in the way and you want to just keep guessing, it's better for you to go work with somebody else. It'll be a lot less stressful. But on the flip side, you can take something like Stacey and Brad have that was on the verge of bankruptcy, where somebody had managed it, changed this, ruined the culture, created the wrong environment, and you can change it. And no, right? It doesn't have a magic wand, but it's been the things that you've accomplished in a year has been unbelievable. Unbelievable. What would you say to somebody, right now that was where you're at? Where there was some hesitation, maybe there was some lack of trust of like, is this stuff actually going to work for us? Is this worth it? What would you say to them?
I'd say it's absolutely worth it because we were running our company like we were employees, not like we were business owners, because we didn't know how to be business owners. We didn't know
Mm,
what we were supposed to be looking at. So to have somebody guide you and slowly build systems and everything that is needed to support the growth of the company
mm,
has been huge. And I
mm,
do not for a second regret our decision to sign up with PFC because it's been
mm.
such a game changer. And I honestly, I don't lose sleep at night anymore.
Yeah, so you know what? It's funny. It's amazing the things that we value, right? Like, yes, it's important to be profitable, but here at PFC, it's more than that. You hear me say, get your profits to pay for your freedom. That's not just physically, it's mentally.
Mm.
Freedom to sleep, freedom to sit and go out for dinner and be present. Or if you do talk about business, it's exciting. Like, oh, we're working on this. Oh my God, we got this other client that's knocking on our door where they want us to be their electrician. They want us to do these projects. They're looking at us because they, as the trusted authority. Like, so look, if somebody, last question for you is, what would you say to another contractor that's afraid of raising their prices?
Test it out.
Yes,
You're
that's the
never going
right,
to know unless you test it out. And
right.
the ones that are going to complain the loudest about it, maybe they're not your clients.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Interesting, right? One of the best things to filter out Class D deadbeats. Class C can't deal with, right? The guys that use you as a bank, guys that never will see your value, is raise your price, maybe just starting with them, because they should pay the price to the piper for, not, being the client and doing the things that they know they should be doing, right?
Yeah,
Okay. So, Stacey, thank you so much. How do you feel about the future of Alberni Electric?
very optimistic. Very
Awesome.
optimistic. I can
Awesome.
see in 5 years, maybe we can take a step back and
Right.
retire or sell
Yes.
the company.
Right. Exactly. Right. And in the interim, now it's catching up on those debts, paying those
Mhm.
things off, starting to put money aside, helping out the certain family members, right, with savings and things of that nature is pretty cool. Helping out the team with, health plans and stuff like that. Not just your freedom with your profits, not just Brad's, but other people around you, right? So
Yes.
guys, look, now look, if this hit home, and you guys are, you're honestly, I don't know, you're worth more. You know that the guessing game hasn't been getting you to where you want to go. And you want to book into a quick chat, the same chat, right, that you and I had, Stacey, you, Brad, and I, right? And it really was to see if there was a fit. It wasn't to see, hey, I'm trying to pitch you something. It was like, I don't know, maybe there's a fit, maybe there isn't. And if there's not, that's totally cool. But guys, one of the greatest things that champion CEOs do, that's what we call them here at PFC, because it's not just a champion CEO of your business, it's a champion CEO of your life. One of the greatest attributes of a champion CEO is asking for help and putting their pride aside. Okay. So if you guys want to book in for a quick little chat, okay, we call it a calibration call. Why? Because we want to calibrate, identify the things that are working, make them better, and identify the things that aren't working and come up with a plan. So honestly, zero pressure, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I am a fellow tradie, guys. Zero judgment. Okay, if nobody's taught you this stuff, then how the hell are you supposed to know it anyways? All right. So let's just put that aside. It's zero risk. And the truth is, guys, if you don't book in this call, the guy around the corner might, and that might not be a good thing. Um, if you're struggling already with the competition, for them to get even more of an edge might not be a good thing. So the next move, guys, honestly, is yours, and let's make it count. So, any last words that you'd say, Stacey?
Just thank you.
You're
It
welcome.
has been an experience, and I am so glad I ran across that video on Facebook that day when we were on our way up to Port Alberni for another week of chaos.
Wow, awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure helping you guys. It's a pleasure helping all the champion CEOs. We got your whole plan. We get your plan laid out. We're strategizing on next steps. And as much as you've benefited up to now, we're just getting started. And it's so exciting. I love working with you guys. So does the team. Okay,
It's been
guys, till the next No Bullshit podcast. See you guys on the flip side. Keep up the great work, Stacey. Keep up the great work, all you champion CEOs out there, all you traders out there. There is hope. Minimum thing, take some action from the stuff that you heard today. That's the minimum. Doesn't mean you have to give me a ring, but honestly, don't do it your own. Don't try and figure out this shit that took me decades to figure out. Just leapfrog it. Okay. And let's have a quick chat and we'll go from there. Okay, guys, we'll see you on the flip side. Later. Ciao. See you, Stace. Bye.
Bye.